Everything you see on this board is all you need to make the perfect Valentine's meal, and you can make it in about 30 minutes. Let's get started. Hey y'all, welcome back. And if you don't know me, I'm TK, and this channel is all about doing some makeup, doing some food, which we're gonna do today, and having a lot of fun. So if that sounds like a good time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure notifications are turned on. Welcome to Foodie Friday.
Hey, hey, let's just alles get faded. Let's just alles get faded. Yeah, yeah.
Today we are going to make a Valentine meal. One of the most important things I think about making a meal for Valentine's Day is gonna be that it's delicious, that it's something special that you don't cook every day, and that if you want to get a little bit something after, it doesn't leave you with digestive issues that would get in the way. Okay, so today we are going to make crab stuffed mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, you can do this very same thing with a baked potato or a chicken breast. Just make sure that if you do it with baked potato or chicken breast, that they're basically cooked before you do it. Okay, let's take a look. So over here, what we have on this board is we have portobello mushroom caps. These caps, you can see how big they are. Use my fat giant hand for scale, okay? They're a nice big mushroom cap. You can stuff them with lots and lots of things. Make sure you clean them first and towel them off. Don't soak them, and don't leave them in a lot of water, because mushrooms absorb water really fast and they'll get soggy. They are a nice hearty mushroom cap that you can cook. You can actually cook them on a grill like a steak. You can season them like a steak, and they have a very fleshy, meaty texture to them. The other two things we have are Maryland crab cakes that have been prepared by a local store already. So these two crab cakes cost $5 total, and we got those at the Fresh Market, which I will leave a link down below. And they are already prepared. You don't have to buy the crab. You don't have to buy the seasoning. You don't have to buy all the stuff that goes in it. Just get the crab cakes. If you can't find fresh prepared crab cakes like we have here, you can go ahead and get frozen crab cakes and thaw them out. Very simple. This is just a beautiful shortcut way to make what comes across as a very elegant meal, and I'll show you how it's done. Just so fast, and it's going to impress everyone. Okay, so what we have here is a pan that's been sprayed with olive oil. We have two crab cakes. This is so easy. Watch how easy. You take the crab cake, you put it on one of the caps. It's as if they were designed for it. Flatten it out a little bit. Take the other crab cake. Put it on the other cap. Very simple. That one sort of still has the lip on it, so we're going to try to tuck it in, but there we go. Very simple. What am I doing with those other two caps? I'll tell you what. Here's something else you can do if you just wanted to make a fancy side dish. Okay, so over here we have a pot of prepared stuffing. I use stovetop, right? But you can make your own if you like to do that. Just take your ice cream scoop and fill it up. And now you're just going to plop that bad boy right there. Another scoop. Whoop. Might have a little much there. There you go. And you're going to plop that bad boy right there. Spread it out a little. It's important to make food look pretty. Okay, and the last thing you're going to do with these stuffing balls is you're going to drizzle a little bit of butter on there. All right, that's going to make them a little bit nice and crispy while they're cooking in the oven. And this pan is going to go into a 400-degree oven for 20 minutes. Very easy to remember, 420. What do you want to do at 420? Eat. Okay, so let's talk about two things. We're going to talk about mushrooms and we're going to talk about crab cakes. These mushrooms are called portobellos, but you're probably more familiar with the small white cap mushrooms that are called cremini mushrooms. And then there's obviously all the exotic mushrooms in between. There's different mushrooms that are used in a lot of Asian foods. But the two types that are mostly grown here in the United States and purchased in the United States are the small white creminis and the portobellos. There's two types of portobellos. There's the big kind like we saw, like we're making now, and then there's the baby bellas, and those are just a smaller version, obviously, of the portobellos. They're actually really nice if you're going to do a meatless dish. They're very good to use for that because unlike the cremini mushrooms, they're very dense in texture, so they feel like meat. If that's right, that sounds weird, but they feel like meat. So most of the mushrooms that are grown in the United States are grown in one place, if you didn't know, and that is ding ding, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm actually from. And they are grown in Chester County, which is right outside of Philadelphia. And the farms there grow both the portobellos and the creminis. And if you ever get a chance, you can actually go and you can tour the farms and you can see mushrooms being grown. And one of the interesting things about how mushrooms are grown is that they are grown in compost fortified with manure. They are also grown in very large barns they're grown in beds in large barns that don't have any light. Mushrooms are a fungus, so obviously they grow much better in darkness, which is why somebody might say to you, quit treating me like a mushroom, keeping me in the dark and feeding me bullshit. Or you can use that line like with your boss. It works. Let's talk about crab cakes. So there's many different styles of crab cakes and many different recipes for crab cakes. The crab cake that I prefer is the Maryland style crab cake. And the reason that I think they're so good and they're pretty much superior to everything else is because the Maryland crab cakes are made with lump crab. So if you've ever cracked a crab, you know there's two types of meat that you're going to get out. Out of the legs, you're going to get sort of a stringier meat, and the claws, you're going to get kind of a stringier, sort of lighter meat. But as you crack open the body and you pull out the joints where the legs attach, that's where your lump meat comes from. That really sweet, white, buttery, textured crab meat, that's your lump. Maryland crab cakes are made with lump crab meat, and they're made with just enough filler to hold it together. Quite often those fillers are mayonnaise, breadcrumbs, and usually scallions or green onion tips. And then there's seasonings, which might just be salt and pepper. In a Maryland crab cake, it's quite often Old Bay seasoning from McCormick. And why did we pour butter on the stuffing mushrooms and we didn't pour butter on the crab cake mushrooms? And there's your answer. The answer is the crab cakes already have enough fat in them, and they usually have a little bit of breadcrumbs, enough to make kind of a crispy outside after they're done baking. And obviously the stuffing doesn't contain any of that, so we're adding a little bit of fat on the top. It's going to fry in the oven a little bit, and it's going to make a nice crispy top on there. The crabbing industry in Maryland is a $600 million industry. Half the blue crabs are eaten in this country come from the Chesapeake Bay, which is a very small body of water relatively on the eastern shore. So the next time that you're thinking about ecological issues, just keep in mind, even for your own state, there are watersheds that need to be protected for the livelihood of the people who farm the waters in the state you live in. If you're landlocked and you're in New Mexico, I don't know what to tell you. But for lots of other states in the United States and lots of other countries, farming the waters, the bays, the inlets, the oceans is really important, and it's really important to protect that industry. what can I do to help the ecology? And think about where your seafood comes from. I love seafood. Not everybody does. I get it. But fish, seafood, it all got to come from somewhere, and the waters that it comes from need to be protected and clean. So keep that in mind. Okay, and this is the result. We have our crab stuffed mushrooms here, and we have one of our stuffing stuffed mushrooms here. This mushroom just gave it up. As mushrooms cook, they do flatten out a little bit. So I probably put a little too much stuffing on there, but there you go. These babies are perfect for an elegant, fancy meal that you normally would not make for Valentine's Day. Glass of white wine, little teddy pendergrass, and you have the perfect Valentine's Day dinner. These would be great as a side dish for something like a Thanksgiving meal, Sunday dinner, anything like that. You can basically do this with any food. You can take like a chicken breast, cook it, cut it down the middle, or you can just put that crab right on top of it, pop it back in the oven at about 400 for about 10 minutes. You do this with a baked potato. You can take the baked potato, put the crab inside of it, put it in the oven 400 for about 10 minutes, and you have crab stuffed baked potato, crab stuffed chicken. You can pretty much stuff crab anywhere you want. I hope you had a good time with me today making this somewhat homemade Valentine's Day dinner. Let me know what you decide to do for Valentine's Day, and also let me know if you ever decide to try any of these recipes. I hope you guys are having a great day. Stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.
Hey, hey, let's just get faded. Let's just get faded.